Today is the final deadline for my manuscript, and I'm working with my last bit of strength. Only a few pages are left. My head is throbbing terribly from exhaustion. What really helps is that my friend and editor, Hattori, keeps encouraging me. He himself hasn't slept for several days either. In fact, it was he who persuaded me to take on this project. It had to be completed in a record-breaking short time. I would never have agreed if someone else had asked me. It would have been much easier if my good friend Yanase had helped us, but he got upset when I left him for Hattori at the hot springs where we were resting together, and now he won't talk to me. Oh well, I'll manage without him. Just when it seemed we wouldn't meet the deadline, Yanase finally showed up. With him, the work went much faster, and we managed to finish on time. After Yanase left, one of the assistants confessed that she had liked him for a long time. She asked me if he was seeing someone, and Yanase had once mentioned that he was in love. I wonder who his chosen one is. My thoughts were interrupted by Hattori. He had just returned from the printing office and thanked me for my great work. But suddenly, I felt terribly unwell and lost consciousness. I woke up at Hattori's place. It turned out I had slept for 2 whole days, the result of a cold, overwork, and lack of sleep. I noticed I was wearing pajamas, so Hattori had changed my clothes. We've been together for a year now, yet I still feel shy. I remembered that tomorrow was a day off and we had planned to go somewhere together, but Hattori said I should recover first and only then, if I felt better, think about polishing the plot. He always thinks about work. And out loud, for some reason, I said that it's much more fun with Yanase. Only then did I realize it was a mistake to say that in front of Hattori. I hurriedly changed the subject and asked who Yanase liked, since one of my assistants had fallen for him, but Hattori didn't answer. Hattori was in a rush for work and forgot his folder at home. His phone wasn't answering, so I called the office. The chief editor answered and accidentally let it slip that Hattori was working on weekends, making up for days off he had taken to take care of me. Later, Yanase called me. He asked if I had already made the work schedule for the next project. I thanked him again for his help and asked how he knew I needed support. It turned out that Hattori had asked, and since I now owed him, Yanase suggested we go to Uifun together for the weekend. I suggested taking Hattori with us too, but Yanase was strongly opposed. The next day, I brought up the trip again and said we should still invite Hattori. Yanase got angry and said he really didn't like that Hattori was always my top priority. I realized I had to change the topic urgently and told him that one of my assistants liked him, but Yanase completely lost his temper and asked if I really didn't understand anything. He confessed that he had loved me for a long time, not as a friend, but much more than that. I didn't fully understand what he meant and replied that I liked him too. At that moment, Hattori walked into the room and heard everything. Without a word, he dropped the grocery bag and left. Yanase wouldn't calm down and kept asking how exactly I loved him. I said he was my best friend. Then Yanase declared he would give me time to think and left. I needed to explain everything to Hattori, so after work I went to see him. He thought I wanted to break up with him. He said he understood that it was hard for me with him and that I would have much more fun with Yanase. That's when I got angry. I told him not to put feelings on me that I don't have. Even I felt uncomfortable saying it. Hattori took it as a confession. He rushed to me, hugged me tightly, and kissed me. At that moment, I realized I loved him far more than I had ever imagined. The next day, I honestly told Yanase that nothing but friendship could exist between us. To my surprise, he didn't get upset. With a smile, he said he would still fight for my heart. Hattori is always busy with work, and he barely has any time left for me. This morning, I woke up and didn't know what to do with myself. I decided to call my friend Yanase and suggest going for a walk together, but he turned out to be very busy. He also reminded me that I had promised to go to the hot springs with him. Once again, I couldn't refuse, even though Hattori forbids me from meeting him alone. A few minutes later, Hattori called too.
He said that tomorrow he would be able to go to the movies with me. I was incredibly happy. The movie I had been wanting to see so badly was in theaters for its last week. But the next day, disappointment awaited me. Hattori called and said that unfortunately he wouldn't be able to get away from work. The weather was beautiful, so I decided to go for a walk by myself. And then, to my surprise, I saw Hattori. He was standing with some girl and chatting with her sweetly. When I looked more closely, I recognized her. She was the same girl he had dated back in school. I walked down the street completely broken. At that moment, Hattori called and said that his plans had changed and that he was coming to see me, but I didn't want to hear him anymore. I turned off my phone and went to Yanase's place. There, Yanase started drawing me again. I still don't understand why he keeps doing that all the time. I told him that I had seen Hattori with his ex-girlfriend. Instead of comforting me, Yanase began saying that this happens often and that Hattori needs to relax after a hard-working day. I didn't want to believe that Hattori was capable of such a thing. Suddenly, Yanase's phone rang. It was Hattori looking for me. Yanase told him not to call here because he loved me and wouldn't give me to anyone. Then he pushed me onto the floor and said that everything he had said was no joke. He had loved me for a long time and wasn't going to give me up to anyone, especially Hattori. He confessed that he fell in love with me back in school when he first sat next to me at our desk. He noticed my hands right away. My slender fingers drove him crazy. Yanase started kissing me. I desperately resisted and said that nothing would work out between us, but he said that I wouldn't know unless I tried. He admitted that he had always hated Hattori, who had stayed by my side all these years. They pretended to be friends only because I wanted them to. Someone was desperately ringing the doorbell, but Yanase had no intention of opening the door. He said that if I wasn't ready to be with him yet, then he at least wanted closeness. He attacked me again, but I hit him and managed to break free. Yanase was crying and kept asking why I chose him instead. And I answered, because Hattori is the only one. At that moment, Hattori burst into the apartment and rushed at Yanase with his fists. I barely managed to persuade him to leave with me. He couldn't understand how I could be so careless and go to Yanase knowing what could happen to me there. I said that it was all his fault. After all, he had lied about being busy with work while actually meeting his ex. Hattori explained that his ex-girlfriend works at the main office of the publishing company and that they met completely by chance. I felt ashamed of my suspicions, and Hattori admitted that he liked the fact that I was jealous. I told him that he was the only person I wanted to hug and kiss. Hattori was happy.